Hi, I'm Peter Begala from Family Business Magazine. I'm joined by Charlie CARR from EY's Family Office Advisory Services. This is part 2 of a series on succession, and today we're getting into very specific practices a family might do in order to transfer the wealth, the operating company, power, control, values, legacy, you name it, from one generation to the next. And what we're seeing is that families have some common practices that they do in order for the succession to be successful.
The first practice that's out there is leadership. Making sure that you've assigned people out there, that you're focused on the leadership. We found that I think it's 88% of the time there is somebody assigned. When families successful in succession planning across generations, they had somebody assigned to responsibility.
So the process has to be driven to some degree.
It has to be driven.
Okay,
right.
Great. And then the second, what are you seeing?
It's preparing the next generation. So what are we doing to get them ready? And it's important not to pick them too early. Let's give them all the opportunity to have the same education, to learn the business, the internship within the company, to give all of them that opportunity so that you can then figure out who's going to fall out and be the next leaders of the company, the leaders of the family office, all of that.
So if it's too tightly scripted or scripted too early as to who's the anointed one, it can be confining.
And you're going to have dissension among the family members. They're going to resent the fact that they weren't given a chance or their kids weren't given a chance, things like that. So I've coached baseball for many years, about 15 years now, and I was at a coach's clinic a few years ago, and college coaches were telling us, you as a coach, don't tell this kid that they can't play high school ball, college ball, professional ball. That's not your job. Your job is to groom them, to coach them, to teach them, to encourage them, all of that. The game will decide whether or not they can play at the next level.
So the business will decide.
The business will decide whether they can do this. So give them all that same opportunity, encourage them, coach them. The wonderful part of that is the family will see this develop over time. So they may have thought at 22 that their son was the one that was going to lead the company next. By the time he's 30, it might be obvious that he doesn't have the temperament, the skills, the talent to do that, or even the interest to do that, and somebody else has. Things will change as they get older, and don't pick them too early. Let the business decide who's going to be that person.
And that individual's kind of passion for it probably rises to the surface and becomes obvious to all.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Okay. And then, all right, so the third area.
Third one's developing an entrepreneurial spirit. And the same spirit that probably is what resulted in them founding the business and succeeding as a business, make sure that gets passed across the generations. So one of the failures of families is that somebody will inherit the business. They're now running the company, and they're told, don't screw it up. It's been really good. And now all of a sudden they're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to make decisions, all that. What you really want is that they have that entrepreneurial spirit. They can, you succeeded by taking risk. Mm-hmm. Give them that same opportunity and foster that while they're young. Give them the opportunity. Give them that chance to take great risk and fail.
So they have to feel supported. That next gen needs to feel supported in their ideas, their contributions. And if some of those don't work out, it's not blame, it's, hey, that didn't work out.
That's right, especially if you fostered it early on, so maybe they had the opportunity to take risk where the consequences weren't as severe as maybe later when they're running the company.
Right.
You give them that opportunity to learn.
Okay, so a supportive culture. I would imagine that supportive culture leads to our next one, which is really about top talent coming.
That's right. How do we get the right talent in the business? And this is twofold. One of those is talent within the family members. How do we make it enticing so that a family member who's probably receiving distributions off the company and maybe getting a nice income as it is, that they feel incented and enticed to come work in the business? They want to do that. So how do we do that is one element. Then the second element is how do we get top talent among non-family members so that people feel that if I come work in this business, and even though my last name is not on the door, I still have an opportunity. I can still move up.
Yeah, I can move up. I can contribute who I am. I can contribute my time and talent and create some value. And I'm rewarded for that.
That's right.
But also I'm valued because of my contribution.
That's right. And we have many instances where the president of a company is a non-family member that moved up through the company and did that. Oftentimes they're treated like one of the family members. They're almost adopted into the family, if you will. But that's important that opportunity exists, because as a business is growing, you may not have enough family members to fill all the roles that you need, and you want the diversity that some outsiders are going to bring into it.
And so communication along the way, I would imagine that it's among family, it's among vendors, stakeholders of all sorts.
That's right, and you want to make sure that the family members understand what process you're going through, how you're preparing those next generation members, how the decision's going to be made to choose that next person. You want to make sure that they're involved and understand the process. because it's all about family unity. And if you don't explain, you don't communicate, you're at risk of destroying the family unity.
Fantastic. So we've described a handful of steps that families take to successfully transfer ownership, wealth, power, control, the operating company, the assets from one generation to the next. I hope that some of these steps can be applied to your family and that you find what can be a complicated process to be something that's rewarding. Thank you so much.
Thank you.